What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Stay Locked In podcast. If you somehow stumbled upon this video, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and notification button down below for more content. I got a crazy goal of about 10,000 subscribers. If you can help me manifest my goal into a reality, I would really appreciate it. With that being said, let's get right into this video. Let's go ahead and lock the in. Alright? So boom. All right, let's get right into this video. Congratulations to Devin Haney for the victory all the way over there in Australia for the second time versus George Kambosos. I gotta tip my hat to George Kambosos for even, I don't want to say allowing, but actually fighting that man and honoring the contract, and actually going ahead and doing what he said he was going to do and giving the fans and the people the best fights available. Shout out to George Kambosos for that, because we can't say that about a lot of boxers today. And he needs to be commended for that. And that's real man, real champion, real boxer things that he's doing. Win, lose, or draw. Shout out to George Kambosos, man. That dude is a warrior. But into the fight, George Kambosos came out like a bat out of hell, and it was either revenge or redemption, I believe it was. So he came out like a bat out of hell. He was, trying to give, crazy or different looks. He was in there like really herky jerky and, really moving side to side and, moving awkward, trying to give different looks. He was switching from southpaw to orthodox, back and forth. Head movement, hand movement, footwork. He was giving Devin Haney every look possible in the book. And, Devin Haney made the necessary adjustments as a boxer. My respect level for Devin Haney has went up tremendously just throughout this fight. He got caught with a couple of good shots throughout the fight, but for the entirety, or the most part of the fight, he dominated. It wasn't the dominating fashion that it was in the first fight, but it looked a little different. George Kambosos made a few adjustments, and he came out there and was giving Devin Haney some different looks. But he adjusted like a true champion. Shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to Bill Haney for just being a great trainer and a great dad at that. Making it to the fight and, really coaching his son. Shout out to Bill Haney for that, man. Shout out to Kambosos' team. I think it was a beautiful day for boxing. From Clarissa Shields to Devin Haney to Deontay Wilder later on in the night. But back to the Kambosos and Devin Haney fight. It was an incredible fight. It was a lot more entertaining than the first go round. Devin Haney showed that he's a true champion, and it wasn't a fluke. He's just on a different level boxing wise. He came out there, he was sticking to the jab. He was hitting him with a bunch of 1-2s, bunch of overhand rights, pot shotting him, just getting to it and just showing that he's the superior boxer. Devin Haney is incredible, man. We got to give this man his flowers. Undisputed. He went over to Australia twice. He didn't have to do that. He went over there and beat that man on his homeland twice. And, you know, respect to Devin Haney, man. I can't say enough about Devin Haney. He carries himself like a man. Even at the tender age of 23, I believe he's about to turn 24 in a couple of months or a month or so. Shout out to him, man. He did everything that he said he was set out to do and more. You know, I think with the different looks, he was kind of it was an adjustment period for him, and he adjusted well towards the end of the fight. He was just timing them. You know, the timing of Devin Haney was super apparent in this fight, and I can't say enough about his timing. You know, timing is huge in boxing, and for, you know, George Kambosos to come out there with, you know, the different looks, going from southpaw to orthodox, showing them different looks as far as the head movement, the hand movement, the footwork, and for Devin Haney to compute that in those first, you know, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 rounds and adjust the way that he did, shows that he's on a different caliber. He's just on a different level. You know, I think, like I said, you know, there was a lot of, and, you know, I do want to talk about this as well. There was a lot of dirty stuff that was going on. It seemed like this fight was there was a lot more bad blood, so to speak. You know, it was a lot of dirty stuff going on, especially within the clinching, stuff that none of the announcers was really talking about, on both parties, Devin Haney and Kambosos. There was people, you know, they was both hitting each other in the legs, a bunch of rabbit punching going on. I even seen a couple of headbutts and stuff and shoulder shrugs from George Kambosos. There's no place in boxing for that type of stuff, man. Both of these fighters was cut during the fight. George Kambosos more so than Devin Haney. There was a point in the fight, I believe it was around the 7th or 8th round, where Kambosos was just looking like it was a bloodbath. Straight up and down. Devin Haney was also cut though. I believe he had a cut on his right eye, or his cheek, one of the two. And Kambosos was cut on both sides of his face. He was just looked visibly more beat up. And there was even a cut, I believe, on his side or like towards the back of his head. I've never seen that type of cut, and it was leaking down his ear, man. It was just a bloody fight. But you know, that shows the heart of Kambosos, man. We got to give that man his flowers. He's got a hell of a heart, and he showed grit and will. I believe he was almost out of there in the 7th round. Devin Haney almost had him out of there. You know, I think he was also being cautious because he was still dangerous, and you know, he was still George Kambosos. You know, at any given time, you know, he hits you. He had a puncher's chance. I think he has a puncher's chance in any fight, and I think Devin Haney was aware of that. He just wasn't going crazy and wailing on him and just carelessly, recklessly throwing punches. He was very calculated throughout this fight. But like I said, you know, the 7th round, George Kambosos was on his last leg, and that just shows the, you know, the warrior mindset and heart that he has, man. Shout out to George Kambosos. He survived and, you know, went the distance with Devin Haney. Even though he was on his last leg, he visibly looked like he was a little tired and frustrated, and he really had no answer for Devin Haney's boxing skills, from the jab to the overhand right to just the head movement and his defense. Devin Haney pretty much controlled the fight, controlled the pace. He didn't really hit him with a lot of body shots, but he was tagging him up. He was tagging him up real quick, real good. But, you know, shout out to George Kambosos, man. I can't say enough about that dude, man. You know, for him to actually give Devin Haney the fight, and give him the fight twice, and for them to show the respect that they did afterwards, after the fight was over. Because, you know, I don't know if that was just a selling point, but, you know, there was a little chippiness, you know, in the press conference. It was almost a near brawl, but for them to show the respect afterwards was commendable, man. So I tip my hat off to George Kambosos and all the Australians out there. It was an incredible event. Shout out to them. With that being said, I don't know where Devin Haney necessarily goes from here. There was a lot of talk of Lomachenko. I think that would be an incredible fight for Devin Haney. And even though he's the undisputed guy, I still feel like he's like the underdog, and he's like chasing people around, and, you know, people don't really give him the respect that he deserves. But, you know, there's plenty of people. Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, Lomachenko, I believe, are the top 3 prospects for his next fight. I think all of this is leading up to a fight with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson he's probably got the brightest future out of all of them, man. He's a pure boxer, and his skills are on another level. I would love to see a fight between Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. There's a little bit of sparring footage out there. If you haven't seen it, go search it up on YouTube. Shakur Stevenson is a little bit younger than Devin Haney, but, you know, they was both young at the time. But it looks like Shakur Stevenson got the best of them at the time. But that's not to say that will happen again. You know what I mean? These guys are grown men, and, you know, happens all the time. You know, things happen, you know, in practice and, you know, they both have grown from then. So, you know, there's no real clear-cut winner in that fight, and I think that's what all of this is leading up to: a Shakur Stevenson fight versus Devin Haney or Gervonta Davis. I think Loma is probably next. You know, Loma's been dealing with the things in the Ukraine, and shout out to those people. You know, my condolences to everyone that's dealing with loss and the war that's going on in Ukraine. But I believe that would be a dope fight for Devin Haney, and we got to give this man his flowers, man. We got to give him his flowers. He went up there, and, you know, his objective was to be on a pound for pound list, or the ESPN pound for pound list. So shout out to Devin Haney, man. I don't think he really gets the credit or the respect that he deserves, and we giving that to him over here at Stay Locked In, man. But you guys get down in the comments section. Let me know what you thought about the fight. I thought I was thoroughly entertained. I really enjoyed the fight, more so than the first fight. I think Devin Haney stayed in the pocket and was really, you know, intent on trying to knock George Kambosos out, and, you know, giving the fans more of a toe-to-toe battle instead of just boxing. You know what I mean? It was a little bit of mixture of both, of boxing and a little bit of slugging in there. But you guys get down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about the fight. Let me know, you know, who do you think Devin Haney should fight next? You know, you guys let me know. What did you think about George Kambosos? And the whole nine. But shout out to you guys, man. I really do appreciate everybody commenting, engaging, and watching these videos. I really do appreciate it. With that being said, I hope everybody out there stays focused, stays prosperous, and stays locked in.